Alright, hello Riven mains and Yasuo mains alike. I am the Nightwing, Way of Life Esports, coming at you guys with another League of Legends video. So Cloud9, after all their many years of getting out of groups, could not get it done this year. And there is so many reasons why they couldn't get out of groups that I'll be going into a lot later during the video. Gonna quickly recap the group for you guys. Griffin faced Cloud9 in the first match of the day. If Cloud9 beat Griffin, they have a shot at making out of the group. But if Griffin beat them, they cannot advance out of the group because they lose the head-to-head to Griffin. And most of you already saw they lost the head-to-head to Griffin in a very, very convincing fashion. Chovy dominated on his mid Camille. Tarzan came back to his obvious, spring and summer form, which everybody knew him coming in as one of the best junglers in the world. Griffin obviously turned it up today. They ended up beating G2 twice, once in their rematch, and then the next one in their tiebreaker. Griffin obviously get first, G2 gets second, so G2 could theoretically get Fun plus Phoenix as an opponent, possibly when the quarterfinals kicks off. Cloud9 do win their last game of Worlds, and that's pretty good overall for your confidence. You can say that you ended off your year with a win, which is obviously a nice thing. And obviously Hong Kong attitude, pretty good representation out of them. Even though they didn't win a single game, they should go home with their heads held up high that they put up at least a fight against almost all of these teams at certain various points. So congrats to Hong Kong attitude. And then after that, G2 definitely got a run for their money today, getting a reality check that Griffin is a strong team, and these Korean and Chinese teams are definitely no slouch. Just because they're underperforming at various instances isn't an exact indicator of how strong they actually are. Now with that out of the way, as a Cloud9 and G2 fan, I can go over differences of reasons why Cloud9 failed this year in terms of what was expected out of the fans and what was expected out of a lot of people predicting going in. Now, what I'm going to say is it's not just a bot lane problem. It's obviously more or less so a drafting problem, as most of you guys have already seen. Most people know drafting has been really bad on the side of Cloud9 for it's not necessarily all draft, but the drafts are questionable. And I'm not going to say bad because remember, a draft is, prepared in advance and they expect you, the players, to obviously execute the draft, not necessarily perfectly, because not everything is going to be perfect, so you just have to kind of ground yourself in reality that that is not going to happen when it is obviously given the case. So it's not really too much about the drafts, it's more about the players just not playing good. Sneaky has just not been playing good. Whether you choose to fanboy over him or not, doesn't matter. He's not been playing good. They need to replace him. It's just, he needs to go to academy. This is how it works, Hey, I like the dude. Talk to him at the LCS every chance I get. Obviously, when you take pictures with the players, he's just not playing good. You can choose to be delusional, but I'm not doing that. So you can take that delusionalness and just shove it up your ass if you're gonna believe that. But other than that, Sneaky has not been playing good. Niski, I'm willing to give him a pass because first Worlds, everybody knows that you can predict something good going into Worlds, but when the actual game starts, the stage jitters could settle in. It's obviously a first World. It's obviously a big event. A lot of players do crumble at their first World. It's a common thing that happens. We'll give him a pass. He's played pretty decent all year. He was kind of non-existent in their games, but, things happen for your first World. Hey, you can't win them all, right? Zeyzal had a pretty overall decent Worlds, I would say. A few hiccups here and there, but overall pretty decent. Definitely lackluster, but not definitely the worst. Sneaky was definitely by far bad. Now you could say it was drafting. The mages would have made things a lot worse, and it probably did, but I think that even if you have given him marksman, it really wouldn't have mattered. He was just visibly outclassed. Like, yes, give him marksman. It really wasn't going to make that big a difference. The Svenskeren and Blabber situation. Now, we don't know if this was due to the fact of, Svenskeren being sick, because we know a lot of players did get sick. Not necessarily in C9. It was just more like, players around a lot of other teams were getting sick. Fnatic players were getting sick and stuff like that. So we don't know if Blabber was put in because Svenskeren was sick, or if, they wanted to just try a different strat. Though Zazal did say they were splitting time with Blabber and Svenskeren, so you can kind of chalk that up to whatever you believe personally. Licorice was playing really well. I feel really bad for him too. You know, he basically just was playing with 4 wards, so it happens, man. But this will be a lesson to a lot of people that are fans of teams, is that, you know, whatever happens the previous year doesn't always mean it's going to happen the next year. I mean, there's a good chance that it does, but there is a good chance that it won't. And then past precedences have no effect on what happens this year. I remember in the 2017 Worlds trailer, Reckless said, visibly, word for word, the past years have no effect on what is to come right now. Something like that. It's not exactly word for word, you know, you guys know, but, you know, something along the lines of that. And it makes sense. Just because you did something good last year doesn't mean you're not going to do it good this year. Cloud9's issue, and it's been their issue for a very long time, is that they need to kind of stop being friends with these people to a certain extent. It's cool to be cool, buddy, you know, it's cool for all that to be outside of the game. But in order to win championship titles again, to contend for a top world spot like they did last year, you need to obviously get good players. That should be above all else for any competitive organization, whether you play basketball, football, hockey, golf, league, Rocket League, Smash, whatever. That should automatically 100% be above all else, is getting good players. And if they are underperforming, you must do something about that, because other teams do this. You know, people ask me, why am I a G2 fan, and why am I a fan of, you know, that aspect alone? Because one reason that definitely grounded me in being their fan was that in 2018 they had Yarnan and Wadid, who were visibly bad players, and right when they saw that they were just bad and you just can't do anything with those players, they got rid of them. And then what happens? They win 2 splits, they win MSI. I'm not saying the exact same thing is going to happen for Cloud9 if they kick various amounts of players, but not doing it and just accepting the fact that we're going to keep these guys because we like them, it doesn't get you anywhere. How did SKT, IG, RNG, Fnatic, G2, all teams that have done various things with kicking bad players and have won? These are proven instances. It's just how it works, you know? And if you want to win, and this is competition here we're talking about, and you just must prioritize winning above all else. You can be friends outside the game. No one's saying you can't do that, but when it comes to playing the game, specifically, you need to exactly be at the best you can be. And if players are underperforming, I'm not saying immediately sub them out. I'm saying give them some time, but there's been enough time with some of these guys. You know, it's like, what can you do? And it's not just about picking from NA. There's definitely good ADCs, but just not doing and not trying to get these people is the worst part. I'm not saying they don't. I'm not saying that they're just not going to do anything. When I'm saying that this year should just be looked as a failure. And that's not something I say lightly. I know some people were trying to be nice on Twitter and say, oh, yeah, it was a great year. No, it wasn't a great year. Quit lying. Quit lying to yourself. Quit lying to them, because they obviously know it was a failure. They're not going to look at it like you, because you're looking at it through a delusional fan's eyes. That's not how you should look at things. Did they win a split this year? Okay. Should I say anything else? Did they win a split this year? What would have saved this year was getting out of groups. To get out of groups, then it was a failure. Well, what? It was a failure. What are you talking about? Come on. Like, don't be that. I hate that. It's like being nice for the sake of being nice, other than the fact that you know what the outcome was. I'm not saying be mean. What I'm saying is that don't say it was a successful year when it clearly wasn't, you know? Here's what I'll say, and then the video's going to be over. You guys know Griffin and G2 got out of the group. G2 is second seed. Griffin is first seed. Griffin performed really well today. They came online. G2 already pretty much solidified themselves out of the group by going 3-0. Once you pretty much go 3-0, it's really, really hard to just, like, not get out of the group, because you only need one win exactly against. If you literally face the weakest team of your group, you're going to get out because you have 4 wins. What Cloud9 need to do is change players. Coaching staff, they seem to be very, very competent in what they're doing. People are going to have debates about that. It's not exactly them. It's about having the good amount of players to perform these things and execute these things properly. Could it have been bad meta reads? Could it have been the team was in a slump after they lost to TL? Because that could have been a thing. Can't you really use all the excuses in the world? You just lost and you just have to change some stuff up, because all the teams that did lose around them are going to change. All the teams, Dignitas next year will change. Teams that lost in the NALCS will change. Are you sure they're going to stay the same? I'm just saying it's better to not live with the fact that you could not do something for the sake of just not doing it because you're just scared to try it, you know? And if you try and you stumble at a few points in times during that next split or next summer, next spring, who cares? It's not Worlds. It's not going to matter. Well, summer does matter to getting to Worlds, but you understand what I'm saying, you know? But yeah, that's it. You know, I love them to death. You know, I'll root for them next year. Gonna continuously root for them. I'll put them in my pick'ems next year because I obviously think they're a very good team. I think the coaching staff is good. I think good things are good about them. They just need a few tweaks. You know, it's just like they need that kick to be like, this is what you could achieve, but you're not achieving it because you think you can settle for this. And the reason why teams do better than them is because they know they can do better and they shoot for that. What Cloud9 does is that they think that, oh, we can get far with this amount of players. But if you had just an idea of what those other teams did to get that far, to get those titles, to get those international trophies, they could achieve them too. They could theoretically win a Worlds at one point in a few years. Probably not gonna happen, but you know, just spitballing here. Theoretically, TL were really close. TL were close to winning an MSI. I wasn't say really close, but then G2 like obviously fisted them in the ass. So if TL can get to an MSI final, if TSM of all teams can get to MSI, if CLG can get to an MSI final, if you know TL make it to finals this year, then Cloud9 can definitely do it. You know, it's just they need to learn, and I'm not saying learn because I'm just a random person on YouTube giving some advice, and they're not gonna watch this video, but people who will watch me will understand. You should never do something where the point where you should never want to achieve something by just settling. Nobody gets anywhere in life from settling. I never got anywhere in life from settling. You watching this video never got anywhere from settling. They should stop settling. You know, it's cool to develop talent. I like developing talent. That's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. When it turns about main roster, we should have good players. I'm still gonna say two to three star players is fine. Two is fine because obviously how the new import rules work. But you gotta change something. You know, this year's a failure, but I still love them. And certain years for fans of teams are gonna be harder than others. Look at TSM fans. They're not at Worlds. It could be worse. Literally could be worse. But obviously, just look at certain things and just look at things a lot differently. You don't have to think the exact same way I do. What I'm saying is, don't think of it through as a fan. Your performance as a player should become all else, and then what you do outside the game should dictate whether people like you. Because I feel like people like these players for their personalities, which is really good. The personalities are great. I've met them before, but the actual performance you're playing for on your team should take it first. And I'll see you guys later. Like, comment, subscribe, most of all enjoy. I'm the Nightwing, and Way of Life Esports is signing out. Peace. You guys have a good ass day.
Hi there guys, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more stuff.
Yeah, thank you.